My name is Timothy Morgan. We're in Crushall Cuts in Springfield, Illinois. I'm a barber. It's a safe space because it builds fabrics within the community. It builds families. It builds structure, foundation. It's a place of wholesomeness, where people can come and unwind, get a service, talk about whatever it is on their mind. So it's also a form of like mental stability in a sense, because the absence of mental health or the subject matter of mental health is not talked about as much. And this is a space where, as men in general, men can come here and express the things on their mind that they may not be comfortable with expressing to, the rest of society, for being looked at differently or being shunned or being judged. And this is the space where you can come in and really anchor down and get, mentorship, spiritual energy, spiritual counseling. It's a whole it's important because oftentimes it's not regulated. When you speak about mental health with the black man, all the stuff that we've been through over ages and generations, and sometimes it's the lack of accountability for social injustices. Sometimes you have where you deal with people not willing to acknowledge how they've wronged or hurt the black mind, the black man in general, which triggers over to the black child, and it follows them, so, and here is you find a sense of peace and regulation within the process of your own thoughts, and it's a place of vulnerability as well. We know as men, most times you don't become vulnerable because it's seen as a softer version of yourself. But in here, it's you express yourself, you let out whatever it is, whether you're getting a haircut or not. Mm-hmm. Some people come in here just to talk. Some people come in here to advertise their skills, whether it be art, whether it be music, whether it be cooking, whether it be fashion, and we all paying off of each other. So it's also a space of where we get to know people in the community, and when you know people in the community, we collectively come together and there forms resources of all different kinds. You have carpenters, you have mechanics, you have culinary, you have, like I said, you have computer engineers, you got so many different people from different walks of life, but we all come from the same struggles. We just make different choices. Well, I introduced myself first and foremost, and the free energy, how people can read, the welcomeness of a good soul, and it's you're not in your chair to be a dollar. You sit down, you introduce yourself, you talk to them before you even turn the clipper on, just to get a feel of who the person is and allow them to get a feel of who you are before you even cut their hair. And it's a barometer or a meter of engagement so that they know that this is a space that, regardless of coming in to get a service or not, that they more than welcome. It's because you figure majority of people gonna come to the barbershop to get services. When you're a good barber and they getting their hair done, they gonna come here often. Throughout the year, they're bringing their kids here. So it's you watching the kids grow up as you cutting their hair from 2 years old on up to adulthood, you know, depending upon like how long you choose to cut hair. You know, I can say for myself that somebody asked me once, like, how long do you see yourself cutting hair? And I said, I see myself cutting hair to the day I die, because I genuinely love cutting hair. Like, it's something that I love doing, to the point of where if I financially was in a position to just give everybody free haircuts, that's what I would do. And I can't speak for nobody else, but I love doing this. And I can't see myself doing nothing else as a career, you know, because I genuinely love what I do. And I put, you know, my heart and soul into every haircut that I do, every friendship that I make, you know, every conversation that I have, because it's sharing a piece of myself with people, and it's building those bonds and unity within the community, you know, and that's huge. You know, that's huge, to allow people the opportunity to come in and meet you, not just because of your skill set, but on a personal level. Because when you can personalize with the people, they know that you can trust them with sharing, and they can trust you with sharing. Well, we strengthen the community because it's a service. Like, you know, sometimes people may not have the money to get a haircut, you know, every single time. You know, so it's one of them things where you've come here so many times, you put money in my pocket so many times. You know, the money in your pocket helps put clothes on your back, put clothes on your family back, put food in your stomach, you know, help you pay your bills. You know, so at the end of the day, the exchange of being able to give something back, like, man, like, you know, it's a blessing. You know, because at the end of the day, even if you're the best barber in the world, who are you without the people? You gotta have somebody sitting in your chair to even showcase what you can do. Because if nobody sit down, then how do you then begin to build those fibers of community in the first place? To me, to have a safe space, I mean, it means everything. You know, and it's one of the things where I have a safe space at home, you know, where I can talk to my family, you know, and that's sacred. But it's also a sacred space to be amongst men, you know, and build, you know, the unity, you know, and the bonds and the strength. Like, you know, everything ain't always gonna go according to plan. You know, and sometimes you got the up days, sometimes you have the bad days. But being able to really like brainstorm, being able to really share, being able to be vulnerable with each other, like those are the things that help strengthen the lack thereof. You know, from when we see like out there, it's chaos. You know, people, you know, you got people, man, look, I'm just doing me. I ain't worried about what nobody else got going on. But the reality is if you don't worry about nobody else, how do you really protect yourself? Because if you don't pour into the people that's a product of your community, you become a victim of the very people who you don't want to help. So it goes hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. If you're not willing to sacrifice that part of yourself to help people, then you're doing yourself a disservice, and you no longer have a safe space either. We're at Crush All Cuts in Springfield, Illinois.